This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all your devices, and you can get a special price, all by going to pilchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right, it's been a little while since we've gotten to do this. We have got a full-on demo tonight, right, Avram?
Yes. Well, if I can lift it. This right here is the Alienware M17 R4. The M17 is an existing model, but the R4 is brand new, just came out a few days ago, and I have one here that I've been testing. This is the fastest gaming laptop that I've ever seen for a couple of, and faster than many that have the same graphics card. So this, you can get this with either an RTX 3070 or 3080, but this one here has the 3080, and it has a Core i9 10980HK CPU. So it's got the fastest mobile CPU and the fastest mobile graphics card in it, and it also has this neat, I don't know if you can see it easily, RGB keyboard with numeric keypad. And above the numeric keypad, if we can zoom in here, there's 4 customizable macro keys labeled ABC. Now, this design has been around since last year as far as the chassis goes, but if you're not a student of Alienware designs, this is called the Legend design, and it looks kind of like an alien spaceship. You have this honeycomb design above the keyboard.
It was the first thing I noticed.
In the back, the honeycomb grill is on the back. The alien head and the I don't know what you call this thing, exhaust section lights are both customizable, as is the keyboard light, which is actually 4 zones, and they have a configuration where you can get it per key RGB as well. I believe you can also customize the alien head power button, which this is a power button here. Now, this thing is 17. They make a 15 and a 17. This is the 17. I tested the 15 last week. If you care about carrying things around, I definitely recommend the 15. This is 6.6 pounds, and it really feels it. That's because rather than going for thin and light, Alienware has gone for maximum performance. So a lot of the other systems that we've tested with 3080 in them, including the Gigabyte Aorus 17G, got easily 10, 15, 20% lower frame rates on the same games, because they're using NVIDIA Max-Q technology, which is max quiet, right? Max-Q, they don't really want to say, they don't really advertise much, but the Max-Q technology is designed to make your system quieter and cooler, which is, more power efficient, but at the expense of performance. This goes the opposite direction, and, it's heavy. The battery life is only 2 hours compared to like 4 hours on competitors. So you'll definitely want to bring the pretty hefty power brick with you. And you will hear the fan, but the performance is the best. Now, this unit here comes with, that I have, has a 1080p 360 hertz display. And the color on it is pretty good. There's also a 4K panel option, which I haven't tested, that claims to have 100% of Adobe RGB gamut. So but is only 60 hertz. On the 15, which I tested last week, that has a 4K panel that's OLED, and that thing is unbelievable looking. Uh, but we tested that with the 3070. It's not clear whether the 3080 would perform as well in that as it does in this. It probably would, because they're similar. But that being a smaller chassis got much warmer. With the keyboard on the 15 getting as high as like 130 degrees Fahrenheit when we were running a game. Now, granted, that was the base of the keyboard. The actual keycaps didn't feel quite that warm, but it wasn't impossible to use, but it was quite warm. This stays cooler because it's got a bigger chassis to disperse the air, I think, and those fans are really, really pumped up. But I mean, this is really good. Like on max settings on Grand Theft Auto 5, which granted is a somewhat old game, we got 120 FPS. On other games that are really, really tough, like Red Dead Redemption 2, and and on Cyberpunk 2077. So I played Cyberpunk 2077 on this at Ultra RTX settings, and there I was still able to get something like 70 to 80 FPS.
Wow.
And that's a very demanding game. If I turned the ray tracing off, it went up to more like 80 to 90 FPS. So the audio on this is really good. Not fantastic, a little bit of tingus, but it's good. And the viewing angles on this matte display are good. Now, this is an expensive product. It starts at I think around $2,300 with the 3070. The one that I have in front of me here, because it's decked out, and not only does it have the highest end CPU and the highest end GPU, but it's got 32 gigs of RAM, and it has a somewhat strange storage configuration where it has three SSDs. There's two in RAID 0 that are 1 terabyte each, so 2 terabyte drive, and then a 512. Not sure why you'd really need a 512 if you already have 2 terabytes, but okay. But this thing is about $3,500. So, but if you want the best performance, this is it. And I don't see performance getting any better on another laptop unless someone were to basically put a desktop CPU in it or a desktop graphics card, which we have seen people do in the past, and that makes something not even really a laptop anymore. You can also see this has a lot of ports on it. It has a Thunderbolt 3 port in the back. It's got mini DP, HDMI 2.1. It's got its share of USBs. It also has 2.5 gigabit Ethernet on the side, and it's got Wi-Fi killer Wi-Fi 6. So
wow.
Aside from all of the specs and the performance, the keyboard feels really good. It has a really, I'm very picky about keyboards, as I think people know me know, especially laptop keyboards. This one is 1.7 millimeters of travel, which is really good and very springy. I did some of my best typing on this. I would, love that. I love this keyboard. It's fantastic. The touchpad is really large and gives you lots of room. This has a lot going for it. Obviously, what it doesn't have going for it is it's heavy, but if you were buying a 17-inch laptop, you'd kind of expect that, I guess. It doesn't have long battery life, but again, not very portable, so do you care? And it has its share of fan noise because but you can limit that by tweaking your thermal profile, which you have control over. You can even try to, if you have the Core i9, you can even try overclocking settings on it. So it's got a lot going on. That's the Alienware M17 R4, and we will have a review of it up on Tom's Hardware in just a couple of days.
Very cool. Now, I have a question. When you have it closed and you have held it up, there is I think it's your right side on the top. There's a square on the surface.
Oh, this?
Yes.
This is not a square. This is the letter. This is the number 17 in a sci-fi font.
Oh, yes,
It's
it
a little
is.
hard to see.
Yes, it is.
It's a little hard to see. It's the number 17, and it's in this. And by the way, this comes in white and black, I should say. The white is called like lunar light, and the black is dark side of the moon. So this is the lunar light one. The M15, which I have reviewed, the review is live already. It looks exactly the same, except it says 15 instead of 17, and it's smaller. And what I will say about the 15 that I really liked is the OLED display. And the 17 comes with a more colorful 4K display, but the 15 comes with OLED, and OLED is just unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Now, OLED is limited to 60 hertz, so if you really want high-speed gaming, then you might not, care for 60 hertz. But man, OLED just looks so beautiful. And you can't get an OLED monitor even. Well, I think you can for like thousands and thousands, or an OLED TV. You can't normally get an OLED monitor on almost anything. So, while the colors on the 1080 screen here look okay, the colors on the OLED are better than real life. I would like to kind of just carry the OLED around with a camera and like look at everybody and everything with OLED, because OLED looks even better than real life. Instead of saying someone is looking through rose-colored glasses, we should say OLED-colored glasses, OLED glasses. But definitely really powerful, great design, real winners from Alienware.
Very cool. I can see, obviously, I don't spend a whole lot of time gaming, but as you were talking on specs and all that, I'm seeing in the office below the tower at CES, a couple of people with these editing videos and trying to get stuff published the floor. It would be unbelievable. And you could carry them in I mean, you would hate yourself, but you could get through an airport with a bag.
I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't get a 17-inch laptop. Some people would, and for them, this size is good. I would get the 15, but the 15 does run warmer. But I would get the 15 because the 15 is much easier to carry. It also doesn't have a good battery life, but at least it gets about 4 hours, and it has the possible OLED panel. So, and I would get it with a 3080 if you can afford it. But yeah, it's definitely going to be great for productivity. So all the things that make it good for gaming make it great for productivity. And if you get in 4K, then it's really good for video editing and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that Michelle and I have talked about and had hoped to put into practice this year, but obviously, things went sideways, was the ability to essentially from upstairs once an hour dump our video downstairs and let somebody, because we've got an upstairs and a downstairs for our studio, and let people start editing and everything. And maybe, that would be our big, maybe a Patreon push or something, was the ability to have all those videos individually published and ready to go in Patreon during the event. So, it's this would be the thing that would make that possible, because obviously you're not going to do it on this laptop, or something like that, or you'd have to bring, both of the beasts, one for upstairs, one for downstairs, and that's crazy. It's hard enough for us to get through TSA with one beast, let alone trying to bring both of them with us. So it is a cool laptop. I think there's a lot of promise for it. You said the review will be up this week.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, I can't wait to read the full detailed review, but it sure sounds like a computer that I would like to have yesterday. So that's, I mean, that's saying a lot because, you know, I've had my mixed dealings with Dell and its sub brands over the years. So, you know, for me to say I would like one now is really saying something. So, well, as always, Avram, I appreciate it. I love talking computers when you have something brand new, and I look forward to what we talk about next time. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Piltch Point with Avram Piltch. If you did, please subscribe to our channel, and of course hit the notification bell since subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. And if you've got topics you'd like us to discuss in the future, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you don't want to follow us on YouTube, that's okay. There's a lot of other ways that you can follow our content. You can find all of that by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all the different ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.